Okay, class, so this is a lesson meant to help you in the revision of your work and also definitely make sure that you understand how to access feedback because now it's final weeks and this is when you're doing your portfolio. So this is really how your grade will be assessed. So you go from the home page, which is announcements, you'll go to My Grades here in the course menu. And remember that this is the instructor view, so none of these are populated. And so I have organized the My Grades portion to be of greatest ease for you all so that you have easy access to the work that you've submitted already, and it's a little more organized this way. So you'll see that relevant feedback for the portfolio is all going to be here. Excuse me. And then the actual portfolio items themselves. None of these should be populated at this moment. And these are the only things that should not be populated. So if you have anything not scored here or missing, that's not good. All right, so you'd want to contact me about that. And then discussion board items are all here. Anything that's not populated here means that it's missing. And then other workshop and practice items that may or may not be relevant to you for the portfolio is here. So let's talk about how to access this. Of course, you can review how to access all of this information in the guide for rubrics and feedback. There's a video there, so I won't go into great detail, but mainly I'm just meaning how to access it for relevance to do your um, revision and that kind of thing. So I want to just basically highlight that information in a quick video. So most of you will be revising the first full draft of essay number 1, and that would be right in this area. And so this is what you really want to be paying attention to. Now you should see a blue bubble here and also view rubric. That would give you a snapshot of your performance in these areas. And then let's go ahead, and if you would click on the blue bubble, you should come up with a note like this. And the overall impression, let me start there, is just basically telling you this is a sort of non-specific but specific. And what I mean there is that it's not a score right now, but it's me just sort of giving you my overall impression just from what you've got right now. And so 8 out of 10 for this particular student, that's good, okay, but it could be better. And so use that as a sort of a guide to let you know this is about at the performance level that it's at. So you can kind of gauge how much improvement is needed. Um, so for some of you, I've created a video, and if you click that link right there, it'll open up just like this. And just a walkthrough of it. Now, I do that only for ones that I think need it in the sense of there's a lot of notations that could be confusing, or I just felt that it would be better in audio form and not in written form for various reasons. And so if you don't have that, you'll see something there that says something like video not needed or something like that. And then down here is the revision and editing key. And if you would click that, you will see this. And I'll go through this in just a moment, and you'll understand why we have it and why it's important. Please do not feel overwhelmed by this. You are not to read all of these notations, okay? You're only going to be reading pieces of it that are relevant to you. And then, so from here, let's talk about how to actually view the submission with my personalized feedback. There's a note here that sort of instructs you, in screenshots and other things that are going to show you exactly what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so if you go back to My Grades, you'll want to actually click on the submission. It should be blue, I believe, in blue lettering. That's just indicating that there's something there. And you just click there, and it'll open up like this. Now, this does not do anything for you. This does not help you. So if you leave it like this and you try to go through the paper like this, it's not going to help. You're not going to understand it. You have to actually collapse your course menu. So if you just hover your mouse right here, and then comments and markups right there, the X, now you're seeing what you need to see. Okay. Now, again, I walk through that in much greater detail in the guide for rubrics and feedback area through the course menu, but for now, I just wanted to highlight that and remind you. Okay, so let's kind of go through this. Now, you'll notice that Blackboard only lets us comment in the right-hand margins. And because it can get a little crowded, this one's not too bad, but sometimes it can get a little crowded over here. I like to use these shorthand notations. That is directing you to the revision and editing key that we just attached, that we just clicked on from the blue bubble. Okay, that's right there. It's also in the final week's lessons where you're seeing this video. I have attached the revision and editing key for Essay 1. Remember, if you are choosing to revise Essay number 2, which is up to you, but you do need to seek my approval first, I'll provide you with personalized feedback and so on. I tend to try to discourage students from doing that for Essay 2 because Essay 2 usually ends up being more challenging for students. It's more of a practice piece for those of you that are going into Comp 2 or are considering going into Comp 2. So I like for us to focus on Essay number 1 as far as doing actual revision and editing because this is your own story. So it's a little easier to, I think, add if you need to or take away and so on and so on. It's a little easier to work with. But if you're interested in instead of revising Essay 1, you would rather revise Essay 2, you just simply need to reach out to me and let me review that, and I'll get back with you and see if that's a good course of action. But anyway, so you'll see this shorthand note G1, and when you go back to the revision and editing key, look for there's G1. Okay, and we'll see that it's a comma usage note. Reread and note where you take pauses. Natural pauses almost always indicate punctuation of some form, usually either a comma or a period. All right, so if we go back to the submission, and you'll notice that when I hover my mouse in the box, it connects the dotted line straight to the arrow, right? So that will be showing you, oh, that notation is right here. Okay, if the notation is in the side margin like this, that's just telling you that that note is specific for the general area. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's reread that. When you're young, not much goes wrong. Okay, if you reread it out loud, you'll notice that we take a natural pause, and of course, I'm showing you where. When you're young, pause, not much goes wrong. So that G1 is a notation for punctuation. That's what I'm telling you is that some form of punctuation belongs here. G1 is usually in reference to a comma, so a comma should suffice. Now, the asterisk, you'll notice in the blue bubble, I have told you what the asterisk is for. You'll also see it in the revision key itself at the very top. If an asterisk is placed by your notation, so what I'm telling you is that this particular error has repeated throughout, at least once. Usually I don't note it if it's only been repeated once. Okay, usually I'm telling you this is a pattern that you want to sort of learn how to edit yourself and learn how to find it. You can always visit me outside of class for extra help with this through the appointment tool in the course menu. That would be how to contact me. Of course, you can message me if you like. But anyway, you should be able to use this as a sort of a guide to help you understand what kinds of errors we're looking at. As you're writing your reflection piece, okay, when you're going through the submission, you can note which ones are repeating, and that'll help you. That helps guide you to show you, okay, I have certain errors. Usually it's only 4 or 5 kinds of errors that are repeated from a student, and those are the ones you want to focus on as far as editing. Okay, and so anyway, as you go through this, just make sure you're noting that and going back to the revision and editing key. So that's G8. So G8 is a capitalization error. And there's 3 categories: M for MLA, which there are none in this submission, and then C for content. That would be related to the conventions of this particular assignment. This was a narrative, so that would you would go back to the blueprint, the narrative blueprint. And the C comments, let's see if there are any. I don't believe there are. Yeah, so there's no C comments here. That's a good sign. The C comments basically are all going to be related to helping your actual story be better. So you'll see those here. If you have no C notations, then there's no need to read them. So you know that means that's an area where you had a lot of strength in. So that should sort of clear up how to actually use the revision and editing key to actually revise and edit. You won't be able to do that in here, actually. That would be nice. But in your submission link, this is an old document. You can't do anything. See, I'm trying to type here and nothing's happening. So you can't actually do anything in here. So what you would want to do for revision is download your document again. You can do that just by pressing this right here, and it will download and open it up. Okay, now you would have to save this to your desktop, and for revision you would want to have all these windows open. I think that would be a good idea. Have the revision key in front of you if you want to print it off, or in another window is fine, up to you. And have the actual submission link from Blackboard open as well so that you can go through my notations. Now on your document, as you're making your changes, we want to do one of 2 things. You can highlight, okay, so let's say you're going to add a comma right there, you would highlight it, okay, and that would be fine. Any change that you make, you could highlight. Let's say I want to take out occasionally, just put your buddy, then I might highlight that. Now that can get rather tedious, so I would actually suggest that you don't do that and that you instead do the easier way, which is track changes. Now to track changes, you simply come up here to the toolbar at the top, click review, and then track changes is right here. You just simply click it once and you see how it's highlighted gray. That tells you that it's on, it's working. So then as you're going through and adding whatever it is you're adding or taking away whatever it's taking away, it actually tracks the changes like this, as you can see. So let's say let's say you would want to take that out, and if you would or wouldn't, I don't believe that's noted. I'm just showing you as an example. Yeah, so I'm just showing you as an example if you were to do that and just add it like that or something. It's tracking those changes for you, okay, as you go. Now, as you're going through this and looking at my notations and making the changes where necessary, remember your asterisk comments. So what I would do, the strategy I would take is go through the M comments first, if that's what you've got for MLA, and fix those first, and then I would go through probably the content areas first. Again, this example, we don't have those notations, but that's what I would do. And then I would focus on grammar, and I would do it one at a time. So if I have G1, I would go through the entire paper just for G1, looking for comma errors, reading it out loud, noting when I'm taking natural pauses, okay? So we've already noted that one. That was the one that I noted for this student. And then I would just say, okay, so my instructors told me I need to focus on G1s. I'm going to actually pick this up in another video, so a part 2 video.